wash my armpit, the soap falls out.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not too bad. My fingers are all completely numb here from carpal tunnel.
Wow.
And I have surgery scheduled for Friday morning. Then they called me and said, you need a pre-op. I said, you didn't tell me that, so I have to reschedule. But
that's what happened with my surgery for my shoulder and for my tricep. So, do you know Dr. Rand McClain?
No.
So, Dr. Rand is, he does like a lot of hormone replacement stuff. Pretty much on the up and up though, because he doesn't like to prescribe too much shit. He'll just give you testosterone. That's about it. In my, but he's really good. He's really fucking smart. And now his main thing is to try to help people get better. So he's doing a lot of PRP, but he's doing stem cells.
Yeah.
And he's like the actual procedure he's actually doing. He's one of the only doctors in the U.S. that's actually allowed to do it, which is cool. And they can put 200 million stem cells in you at one time.
The problem is, their insurance doesn't cover it.
No, you got to pay for it. It's going to be astronomical, probably.
Yep, it's going to be really expensive.
Yeah. So he's telling me
it's more than my Social Security check.
Yeah. He's like, I want to put stem cells in you.
Well, they're supposed to work.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
I don't know.
I might grow a third head or something.
I might grow the finger.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to Rick's Corner. Today I have a man who produced and directed Bigger, Stronger, Faster, which was really, really, really a good film about steroids, about training, about everything in bodybuilding. I mean, I watched it over and over again. It's my pleasure to have Chris Bell. Chris, thank you for coming out here. I know that traffic from the beach is murder.
It's okay, man.
I never go 4 miles out of my radius.
Anything for you, man. You've been a legend.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I first found out that you were the guy that drew the Gold's Gym guy. Yeah. I was like, okay, that guy's a legend no matter what. Like that's.
But with that behind me, I still pay $1.95 for a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
Yeah.
I don't get any discounts.
Yeah, you get nothing, right?
Nothing. How old are you now?
I am 42.
How old were you when you first got into this whole bodybuilding game?
I was 17.
Yeah.
I just had a knee surgery. I was playing high school football. I wasn't all that good. My older brother, Mad Dog, he was a savage. I mean, he was definitely going places. I wasn't going anywhere really.
Yeah.
So I had this double knee surgery. It was arthroscopic. They kind of screwed it up a little bit. And what happened was afterwards I just needed physical therapy. Mm-hmm. So I went to a doctor who was a chiropractor, you know, and all these chiropractors, they always like know stuff that nobody else knows. But this guy's a power lifter.
Oh, they do know stuff.
Yeah, they know stuff that like other people don't know. And it's like, he's a power lifter, and he says, you want to get your knees better, you got to start squatting. And I'm like, what? I don't even know what a squat is really. I wasn't really into, Mad Dog was into lifting, I wasn't really into it. So I started squatting, and it started out with the bar. And next thing you know, like, I think the Bell brothers just have it in them, like, probably like 6 months later, I was squatting 315.
Yeah.
You know, as a kid. I was like 17.
That's a lot of weight.
A year later, I was squatting 500 for like, you know, sets of like 8 reps. I was like really fucking strong, you know, when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I got into powerlifting. Mark was 4 years younger than me. I brought him along. I remember Mark lost his first powerlifting competition. And they used to, back in the day, like in the 80s, you can get the shirts airbrushed.
Yeah.
And on his, he wrote, second place, I'll be back.
Yeah.
And I don't think he ever lost a powerlifting meet from then all the way up until he went to nationals, which he came in 6th, but he was the only lifter that went 9 for 9. That's when that was the meet that was in Bigger, Stronger, Faster.
Yeah. Powerlifting is a good base for bodybuilding.
Yeah.
It's a good way to get your basis, your foundation down, build the body, and then add the muscle and shape the muscle after that. And so many people don't do that nowadays. They just do a lot of pumps and take a lot of drugs, and that's it.
Yeah, Charles Glass will talk about that all day long. You know, he started out in powerlifting. Mark and Charles did a video not too long ago that I shot. And the whole time Charles was talking about, like, that's why I love powerlifting, because it gives these guys a base.
Sure. You
know, you can't get huge like these guys we see in the gym every day, like Dexter Jackson. You can't get huge without being strong in the first place.
You got to be strong. And powerlifting is probably the oldest. You know, squat, bench press, and deadlift. Everybody's trying to get their levels up. Mm-hmm. I did too. I mean, I had a good 455 bench. But, you know, later
that's a raw bench, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very and strict. 150 dumbbells, 8 reps, an incline. So, but my shoulders are gone.
Yeah, both my shoulders are gone. My hips are gone. I had double hip replacement surgery. Yeah. Not from powerlifting. I didn't do anything crazy. I wasn't a wrestler or anything like that.
That's not crazy. That's making a living.
Yeah, right. I was, I had genetic arthritis.
Yeah.
And when I was 17 years old and I had that knee surgery, I remember telling my parents, there's something wrong in my hips, or in my waist. I don't know what it is, but it hurts. hurts when I run, it hurts when I do anything. So I had pain my whole life, you know, like that, from arthritis. Now I have it in my ankles, my knees, my shoulders, my elbows, right? So what do? We fucking deal with it. You know?
Well, no, that's a good question, because I have it too, and a lot of you guys out there have arthritis. You don't realize at a younger age you do get it. What do you take for it? What can you do to alleviate the pain of arthritis?
For me, it's really a low-carb diet. That's number one. When I eat a lot of sugar and things like that, just when I eat a lot of carbs in general, I tend to hold on a lot of water. That's me personally.
Yeah.
I don't know about everybody, but for me, you know, definitely like more of a ketogenic diet, and just I don't really take anything. Every once in a while, I'll take Advil.
Yeah.
But what happened is the slippery slope. So I had the double hip replacement surgery. Got addicted to Vicodin for about 3 or 4 years, and I went the progression. It was a Vicodin, Percocet, Oxycontin, fentanyl patches, like up, right?
Boy.
So I'm taking stuff that they give people for cancer, and I feel terrible because that's somebody's drugs. You know?
Yeah.
And it was definitely like that slippery slope. Is like, I don't want to be in pain, but after a while, it wasn't about pain. It was about being a drug addict. You know, like I became a drug addict and an alcoholic, and that's something I never thought I would be. You know?
No, it led you there. I mean, I don't take much for pain now. I mean, I do like a Voltaren anti-inflammatory like once every 5 days. I was doing it every day for a year and a half. They said, oh no, you got one kidney, you can't do this, you're going to damage your kidney, although it was okay. So now I've really cut back, and it helps. But then after the wears off for 2 days, I start to hurt again.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, what are the things that you can do to get out of pain? A lot of them, for me, it's a lot of warm up, really. Like in the gym. I mean, I'll go in the gym and, you know, I train with a couple people, and I'll get there 20 minutes at least before them, and I'll start warming up. And by the time they get there and they do what they call warm up, like by then I'm ready to go, and I've already been there for 20-25 minutes. You're
training on Gold's in Venice.
Yeah, I train at Gold's in Venice.
Where everybody out there wants to train.
The Mecca.
The Mecca. It's a good gym.
Yeah.
Good people too.
Yeah, it's an amazing gym. I just talked to Tom File. You might know him. He used to work at the gym, and me and him came to the same conclusion. Like, I used to work at Gold's Gym. Tom used to work at Gold's Gym, and I said, you know what? That was the best job I ever had. He said, I was just about to say that.
John Cena worked there.
Yeah, John Cena worked there, and that's we didn't meet John Cena there. We actually met John Cena when we were moving equipment. You know, and I still talk to John. I just text with him today because he's in the new movie.
And be sure to give him my regards, because he worked for me when I was promoting wrestling. He came over for $50 and did shows.
Yeah, he's amazing. You know, he's a good dude. But we met John. Me and my brother had a job at a company called Mass Movement, where we basically installed fitness equipment. It was the worst job you'll ever get. No. $10 an hour. John was a friend of somebody that worked there, so when he came out to visit, he was staying with Ed Connors. And he wanted to work while he was here. He's like, I don't want to just go out and waste my time. I don't have any money.
Yeah.
And I remember John was he had this is just a quick story about perseverance and doing something when you really want to do it.
Yeah.
He had this giant bottle, and I think it was from back in the day. It might have been like Optimum Nutrition or something. And it was like a Metrex wannabe. It was like some cheap Metrex. And he didn't have any money, so he would drink that like 5 or 6 times a day. I'm talking about like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then down in Hermosa Beach, we got him a job at Sharky's with us, and he was talking about this on Jimmy Fallon or something the other day. There's a pizza place down there called Zeppi's, and if you could eat the whole pie, you got it for free.
Yeah.
And so John did that like 3 days in a row until they stopped him and said, hey, dude, if you want a slice, just ask us. We'll give it to you, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, like a lot of people from there, the Ultimate Warrior, you know, people like that, they've come from nothing.
Yes.
And they've been able to build themselves into like a really successful
they had the drive.
Career and take off, you know.
What got you into doing film?
When I was 19 years old, I lived in Poughkeepsie, New York, and I had 2 friends that were they were wannabe rappers. They were actually pretty good. They were working with LL Cool J's producer, and they said, you know what? They told us we need to do a music video. So my dad gave me an ultimatum. He said, either go to college, go to community college, because my grades were terrible in high school. Go to community college or go work for the city. And I'm like, you mean like a garbage man? He's like, yeah, like a garbage man or postman or something like that. I'm like, man, that's not what I want for my life. So I decided to go to college, but the only classes where you could goof off were communications. And there was hot chicks and you could goof off and like, you know, so I would film skits and all sorts of stuff. And for some reason, I just had a knack for it. And my friends called me up and they said, hey, we want you to do this music video for us. So I shot this music video. I shot it on VHS, and it was just to give people an idea of what it was going to be. This is like 20-something years ago. So I shot it on VHS, and I entered it. My professor saw it and said, this is actually really, really good. This is like way above the standard that we usually produce
You
it.
had a knack for it.
And he said, I want you to send this into this contest. And it's Sony and the American Film Institute. And then, like, I sent it in, and, you know, I didn't think anything of it. And 3 months later, they called me and told me that I won. They flew me to L.A. It's the first time I've ever been to L.A. And Bob Saget gave me the trophy.
Yeah.
And said, hey, congratulations, you won this contest. Sony and the American Film Institute, you know, and you get a free camera and
wow, that's a good,
you know,
deal.
whatever.
Yeah.
It was like, it was cool at the time, and it was like, that was the biggest thing I've done in my life.
Yeah.
So to me, it was amazing. And that day, my just the woman who ran the contest said, you know, I know you probably don't know this, but Francis Ford Coppola was a judge, and he loved your work.
Really?
Yeah. And so I went to my friends that were with me, that were in the video. They came out with me. The woman told me, hey, you should go to USC Film School. You should check that out. That's the best school in the country.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about it, so we went there just to hang out, check it out. And we ended up meeting all the cheerleaders. And my friends were like hip hop dancers and stuff, so we partied with them that night. I'm like, I'm coming here no matter what, right? So I went back to my community college. I told everybody, you know what? I'm going to USC, and they all laughed at me. They're like, you will never get in there. You have bad grades. You know, I didn't have bad grades in the community college. I got better, you know.
Yeah.
And they were like, you'll never get in there. They only take, you know, 1 out of every 2,000 applicants. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I just did my thing, and I got in. You know, and it wasn't easy. It was a lot of work.
Sure.
But they look at your work. They look at your body of work. Where like schools like NYU,
right?
They just look at you on paper.
They look at you like you have a portfolio to show up your skills.
USC does, yeah. And you know, I got into USC Film School, and like right there, I knew I was different when the first day of film school. They went around the class and asking everybody, "What's your favorite movie?" And people like Citizen Kane, and I'm from, you know, it said introduce yourself, so you know, favorite movie, Citizen Kane, and the next movie is Fellini's 8.5, and the next movie is Casablanca, and I stand up and I say Rocky, and everybody laughs at me, you know, and I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Like, that Rocky is amazing.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're just a meathead, whatever, and that's what I got all the way through film school. But the good thing about being a meathead was being different.
Yeah.
Being the one guy that stands out. Everybody say, "Oh, you know Chris Bell?" Yeah, I know him. He's the guy that bounces at the bar, and he's in film school. It's really weird, but that's what it is.
It gives you a title and a name, and it's different. What got you to do Bigger, Stronger, Faster?
It was kind of an amazing collision. Gold's Gym. Go back to Gold's Gym, Venice. And my producer, his name's Alex Buono. He went to film school with me. He shot my short film called Billy Jones. Mm-hmm. It's up on YouTube if anybody wants to watch it. So we did this sort of epic short film. It was like 14 locations in 17 minutes. It was really ambitious. It's a pretty good movie. It's pretty crazy. It's about a little kid who smokes himself to death to win a prize from a tobacco company, sort of like Marlboro Miles and Camel Cash. Yeah. And I got that from being in film school around a bunch of kids that were smoking all day. Yeah. You know, like every time we had a break, kids were out smoking. I'm like, yeah. You know, like I had no one to hang out with because I didn't smoke. Yeah. You know, which was sad. But anyway, so my buddy Alex, who became a good friend of mine, walked into Gold's Gym one day. And he wanted to buy a membership. And he's like, I'm like, Alex. He's like, Chris. And like, I haven't seen you in like 5 years or whatever. You know, we started talking. And I said, what are you up to? He's like, oh, I'm shooting for Saturday Night Live. You know, I have a really good job and it's making really good money. And he's like, but I'm not really that happy with it right now, you know? Just because it's like not what I really want to do. Yeah. And so I said, I have this idea. I want to do this movie about this gym. And so I signed him up for a membership. I think I comped him out at the time, and we could do that for certain people and whatever. So I think I comped him out a membership, and he started coming in every day, and we just started talking. And he said, you know what the best thing about this whole idea that you have, because I wanted to do sort of like a best in show in Gold's Gym. Right, I get it. You know, like a fictional, you know, like guys going to do the bodybuilding contest on Venice Beach or something like that, you know? Sure. And Alex said to me, hey, you know what the best part about this all is? You actually know all these people. These people actually really exist, and I think we should do a documentary. Mm-hmm. So then we started putting in work towards, like, you know, it's a lot of work. Like, I spent probably 8 hours a day for like 3 weekends in a row at Alex's house with his wife, Tamsin, and she was a documentary filmmaker. She had a lot of experience, and they would just write down every story I told them. I'd be like, you wouldn't believe it. There's a guy that lives in the van in the back of the gym, and he's friends with a guy who's a billionaire. Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like the only place in the world where these things collide, you know? Yeah. And they were just fascinated by all these stories of, you know, us growing up as kids and how we got into powerlifting and won all these powerlifting meets and everything. And we were always accused of using steroids, and it was, you know, just for them really like interesting stuff that they've never heard about. Right. And came to a point where we were trying to get people to be involved, like, hey, let's try to contact, Jose Canseco or this guy or that guy. And it was just, really difficult. And then it came to a point like, what are they going to actually tell us? And I just got to a point I said, I don't know if anybody will really care. I remember this phone call like it was yesterday. I don't know if anybody will really care, but both of my brothers are on steroids right now. Maybe we can talk to them.
Yeah.
And as soon as I said that, there was like silence for like 30 seconds on the other side of the line. I'm like, is anybody there? Hello?
Yeah.
Alex?
Yeah.
And it was a conference call, so his wife's on there too. But like, your brothers are on steroids? And I'm like, yeah, right now, both of them. Yeah. And they were like, are you fucking kidding me? And you didn't tell us that until now? I'm like, I didn't think it was an issue.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was I don't know if they'll talk to me. So I remember I hung up the phone, I called Mike. He said yes right away. I called Mark. He said, you know what? I think the world needs to know. The one person that Mark forgot to tell was his wife. And that was kind of an amazing story because Andy's like one of the most amazing people I've ever met. And we started interviewing Mark, and I started asking him about steroids. And she was like, oh my God. And she like ran out of the house. And Mark said, okay, stop the interview. Like went out and talked to her. And she's like, you never told me you were going to talk about all this stuff. And so I went over later on in the day, later on at night. And I said to her, Andy, what's the problem? She's like, Mark is such a good person, and people are just going to see him in the wrong way, and he's very giving and loving, and he's so good with our son, and like it's just bullshit. I don't want him to do this.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well then we won't do it. And she said, but if you interview me and let me tell the world how good of a person he is, I'll let him do it.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, that's a fucking score. Like that.
Absolutely.
That was amazing. That was like,
yeah.
That was like one of the best parts, is having the counterbalance of the wife and saying, he doesn't have roid rage, he doesn't do this, and she's responsible for one of my favorite parts of the movie is when she says, it's not like those after school specials you see, and it cuts to the Ben Affleck special.
Yeah.
Because that's what she was referring to.
Right.
But I think it's sort of it was an amazing sort of collision of everything, having the brothers involved, having everybody
and it's still
involved.
out there.
Yeah, what's amazing is I was just talking about this the other day. I was at Sundance, and it didn't win any awards, and it's my first major film festival, and I was all bummed out, like, oh, it didn't win. They announced all the awards, and they told me specifically, make sure you stay for awards night. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna win something here.
Right.
Best documentary, best director of a documentary, something like that, and all the names got called out, and I wasn't on it. So I was like, fuck. So I remember like they were serving booze there, so I went and had a couple shots at the time. And I went into the bathroom, and I was like, I was just like let down. I was like, man, I thought we put in all this work. I put my whole life on the line. And I walked in the bathroom, and there's Quentin Tarantino, who I kept running into during Sundance, which is like a weird thing. It was sort of like a recurring joke in a sitcom.
Right.
And he goes, you win anything? And I'm like, no, I didn't win anything. He goes, good. I never won anything either when I was here. And he's like, let's go drink or something like that. And that to me was like, okay, this isn't about winning and losing.
Right.
And the thing that I'm the most proud of Bigger, Stronger, Faster, is I still get emails every day.
I'm sure
every single day. I just saw your movie because it lives on Netflix, and it's something that people want to talk about. There was a lot of documentaries that were in competition that year that I think sort of go away. It's like they're really good and they're interesting, but then their time passes. But with this ethical issue around steroids, I think it'll sort of be around forever, and I'm actually
it will be around forever.
Working on some stuff now to sort of not do a sequel, because I think a sequel would be just not the right thing to do because of the whole family involvement and everything.
Right.
I think the way to go is sort of into the future a little bit and what's happening.
What's your views on bodybuilding? Back in the days in the 70s when I was training, we just talked about the drugs back then. It really weren't much. Mm-hmm. Today they're like overtaking everything. Yeah. What do you think about the bodies in comparison from then till now?
I think it's funny. Back in the day, Guinness Book of World Records had a record, and it was the world's most perfect physique, and it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Mm-hmm. And I still think that stands true today. I mean, I think that it's like funny. It's like, as much as we do ridicule Arnold in the movie, I love him. Yeah. I see him in the gym all the time. I think he's great. Yeah. But what we were talking about the movie more was the hypocrisy of like, what you have to do as a governor is say, hey, I reject this even though I did it,
Of course.
And so, like I said, I think he's an amazing person and what he's doing now and everything. And, like Arnold and Franco and, Frank Zane, like a lot of people say, it's all the skinny guys that say I'm a Frank Zane guy. You know, it's like because you're you know
he had a great body.
Yeah, he had an amazing body, but it's funny how like you'll never see like a huge guy walk up and like I'm a Frank Zane guy. You know.
Yeah, always.
It's always you know.
The thing is that today though everybody the guys today are like elephants.
Yeah.
It's not a pleasing build.
No, it's not a pleasing physique at all. When you see these people, you say that they're that guy's a freak. You know. And back in the day, I don't think people looked at that. I think people looked at Arnold and Lou Ferrigno, who's a good friend of both of ours, I think, right?
Yeah.
Lou, he looked amazing back then.
He did.
I mean, he was
still looks good.
Yeah, he was. But he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, and to see physiques like that, like you just don't see them anymore. And there's a couple guys in the gym that will walk in the gym, and I'm like, that's the physique that's like perfect. And guess what they do? Men's physique. Mm-hmm. Because bodybuilding. A guy like 6'3", 240, like that's pretty good physique, but they have to do men's physique now because they're not big enough to compete on the top level of bodybuilding.
And that's because of all the drugs today that we didn't have back then have escalated into the GH and the insulin and everything else.
Yeah, and you know what the thing is, like, not to discount anybody's work, they all work hard. They all train hard. They all diet around the clock.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll see definitely a big difference, and then most of them don't look good. And when I see somebody that like looks good, I'm like, okay, that's a good physique.
Yeah.
But there's not that many of them anymore. Like I see Phil Heath in person and Jay Cutler, and I think those guys are great, but I just think they're really bulky.
Yeah.
You know, and like not like if I had the choice to fucking be that jacked, like I'd probably take it. But like I said, they're bulky.
It's hard to move around.
Yeah, and it's like
even when Rich Piana comes over, he has a struggle. You know, it's hard to breathe. He can't move around.
Yeah, Rich is just huge. Huh?
He's huge. Yeah, he's huge. Good guy too.
Yeah, really good guy. It's so funny because you look at all the tattoos and all the.
He's nothing like that.
Yeah, no, he's just like, hey, bro, how you doing?
Yeah, he's all nothing cool like that.
Yeah.
What's your plans for the future? You got another film?
I have another film that I just finished called. Well, I did a second film. I don't know if you know, called Trophy Kids.
Yes, I do.
That was on HBO, and that's actually available on demand. I think this month if you look for it. And then I just finished a movie called Prescription Thugs.
Right, you mentioned that.
We actually shot part of it in your backyard in your wrestling ring.
In the ring that day. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Prescription Thugs is basically my journey through addiction and recovery. You know, that's that bottom line what it is. It's really a movie about the quick fix. You know, I had my hip surgery and I got addicted to, basically opiate painkillers.
Yeah.
And then after the opiate painkillers, it just became everything.
Yeah.
Like I'd take, Klonopin. Like my doctors would prescribe it all to me. Like, oh, if you're on opiates, well, you need Klonopin to go to sleep.
Oh, they don't care.
And if you're on this, you need this. And if you're on all this, you need Viagra.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny, there's a line in the movie where I tell my mom, like, I was even Viagra. And my mom's like, were you even dating anyone at the time? And it's like,
no, it's for my own use.
Yeah, mothers are just so funny in their own way.
Oh, that's what, yeah.
But my parents appear in it again. Mark appears in it again. And what happens, this isn't really giving anything away. A little bit of it is, but I tell people, because I want people to know, because I want people that have a problem to also reach out to me. The thing was, I raised the money to do this movie. I had to go ahead to do the movie. The reason I was doing this movie is because Mad Dog's struggle with addiction is what basically killed him. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to say, hey, if my brother died from doing all this shit, I don't want other people to die from doing all this shit.
Right.
And what happened is the stress of like making a film, not having any money, basically like living paycheck to paycheck, because like being a filmmaker, it's not what people think.
Right.
It's not like, oh yeah, tons of money. It's like,
no.
I made Bigger, Stronger, Faster, and as soon as, and I got paid to do it along the way as we did it. But as soon as we sold that movie, it cost more to make it than we sold it for. Right. And that always happens in documentaries. If you want your documentary to be good, it always happens. So, you don't really make any money on it. Never. So I was just like depressed and bummed out, and I switched from after I did the painkillers, just in my mind, I think in a lot of people's minds, I need something. What am I going to take that's going to help me go to sleep? And what am I going to do? So I just started drinking. And it started off real slow, and then it escalated into like drinking, every single day.
Yeah.
And after I got started drinking every day, the pills came back in, because your defenses are down.
Yeah.
I beat this pill addiction by ending up in the hospital twice, almost dying from, withdrawals, and like I thought you could die from them, but you actually can't. You just feel like you're going to die.
Like
I don't know if you ever went through it, but
no, I never did anything like that.
That's brutal.
I'm a virgin.
You never did any painkillers? No.
No, I do them. I mean, I did them for my doctor, but I'm so modest about it. Some guys will take 4 or 5 a day. Maybe a Voltaren or I'll do one pill like every 24, every 48 hours.
Yeah,
that's really mild.
In wrestling, it's a huge problem.
It's a problem.
You know, and that's sort of like, I came from that background, like working a lot with wrestlers and being friends with them and everything. And Horseshoe, you know, Luther Reigns, aka Luther Reigns, who was over here shooting, he was taking 90 pain pills a day.
Yeah, see, I can't do that.
You know, he was taking Soma, Vicodins, you know, Klonopin, whatever. He was taking everything, and you know, he had a stroke. Now, I don't know if the stroke was actually due to the pills or due to whatever, but like,
could be.
You know, you're just running your life in that kind of way. It's not good, you know. Yeah. And so, you know, my movie really just is to open the eyes of people to say, like, hey, we say that we have a war on drugs in America, but if you go to your doctor, they'll give you any drug you want. Yeah. And just be careful. Like look at the drugs and go, like, why do I need this and why do I need that? And so now I'm happy to say I've been sober for like a year and 3 months. Yeah. I've never felt better. You know, I got back in decent shape, and just trying to accomplish things that my alcohol and drug use were holding back.
Yeah, you look good down.
Oh, thanks. A lot of it was held back. Like there's so many things I could have done. Yeah. And you can't live your life with a regret. You just got to go full bore into the next thing. You know?
That's true. You look great now.
Thanks.
How can people reach you on the internet?
I'm at Big Strong Fast on Instagram. It's just at Big Strong Fast. Okay. And Twitter. Okay. And then on Facebook, it's just facebook.com/Boar, B-O-A-R, Bell.
Oh, Boar Bell? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here.
Okay. Cool, man. That's it.
I enjoyed that. Yeah, we got about 30 minutes going.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a long interview.
I tend to ramble on.
It's all right. It was all good stuff.
Yeah.
And for you guys, it's all good stuff. Listen to him. See Bigger, Stronger, Faster, and Prescription Thugs. This is a message out to all of you. I think you all should watch this. And he's got a long history in bodybuilding and fitness and weightlifting and filmmaking, and he's just giving it to you, all this good advice. Take advantage of it. You know, you got to learn. The young guys got to learn. You got to listen and learn.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
that's the thing is, when I was young, I always just thought I was invincible.
Yeah, we all
did. I thought, like, okay, I'm going to go to film school. Yeah. I'm going to get out and I'm going to be Steven Spielberg. Yeah. And that shit doesn't happen. That's not reality. And we have to like look at, you know, what's real and what's not. You know.
Yeah, but you got to put the time in.
Yeah.
Just put it in.
That's what Ultimate Warrior used to say. Nobody's willing to do the work.
That's it.
You know, that was like one of his mantras.
It's true. Thanks for watching Rick's Corner. We'll see you next time.
All right, take care.
Stay tuned for more.
It's RickDrasin.com. He is the equalizer, baby. See you next time.